Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Painting in Your PJs with Manette. This is Dr. Manette Riordan. I am here live most mornings, Monday to Thursdays at 7 a.m. Mountain Time in my PJs with my art journal. And in May, we are working with positive affirmations for personal growth and self discovery in a handmade journal. And last week, I showed how I made this journal, and it's a fun little tab journal, and it's not complete because I want to be able to add more pages to it until I feel like this journal is complete. But I'm having a lot of fun working in this one, and I'm feeling a little like wonderfully sore and sleepy and tired this morning after a beautiful 4-day retreat here in my home studio. And so I wanted something really simple. Good morning, Tori. Happy Monday to you as well. And I wanted to do something really simple this morning that would just kind of get my day and my week started off really easily. And I'm going to go grab my water bottle. My throat is a little froggy this morning. So excuse me for that. I haven't done much talking yet this morning. So I thought I would start with one of my son Connor's beautiful sacred circle or mandala designs. I've tucked a few of them as pages because I had some extras into my journal. Some of them I'm going to paint over. This morning I took a few minutes to just do a little bit of writing first. Good morning, Judy. Long time no see. Happy to see you here. Take a quick sip of water here. And if you're new here and just watching one of my videos for the first time, I want to encourage you to subscribe so you get notified of when I go live. I'm live Mondays to Thursdays, most Mondays to Thursdays at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. That's early, early for my West Coast friends, and 9 a.m. over on the East Coast. And I wanted to start with something pretty simple this morning. Good morning, Leslie from the road. Where are you, Leslie? And good morning, Blanca. Buenos dias. Leslie was here at my retreat this past weekend and is making her way back to Illinois. So I wanted to try maybe something a little different than I've done before this morning, which is to do some writing over one of these sacred circles and then add some watercolor to the page. And we're going to see how this goes. I've also got my Derwent Inktense pencils, which I love, to maybe add a little bit of finer detail. So I'm just coming in. This yellow feels nice and bright and happy this morning. And I think we often make our art journaling very complicated. West of Lincoln, Nebraska, you guys made good time yesterday. Good for you. And I think it's important sometimes to look at how can we simplify our art journaling practice. And so coloring pages tucked into an art journal are a great way to simplify your practice or just to put color down on paper. I'm going to mute myself for just a second here. All right, got a froggy throat this morning, probably because we had some delicious pizza last night, but me and cheese are not always friends. Thank you for coming, Leslie. It was so lovely to get to spend some quality time with you over the last few days. Way better than online. It was just amazing to be with such a beautiful group of women, you included, in person. But I want to talk about a couple of things this morning. So first is this idea of simplicity and how can we make our art journaling practice simple instead of, you guys know I love really layered, fancy pages that take, I think this brush is going to be too big for here, but we'll see. Maybe I'm just going to go all around. I think a little messiness is going to be maybe in order this morning, because again, I'm a little tired after running a 4-day retreat, but so happy. My heart is so full. And the affirmation that I chose for today is I am enough and I have the power to help those around me. I am enough and I have the power to help those around me. And so I encourage you to write that down and to think about that affirmation. And I've never journaled over one of the sacred circle designs before, the mandala designs. And I kind of like how it looks. I kind of like that I can still see the beautiful design underneath. This is one of the designs from our wonderful Mindful Patterns membership that my son Connor and I do together. And we get together live with people 3 times a month. 2 of those times we get together and color in community together, and once a month, which is today, I'm so excited. We have added a once a month Zentangle or Zentangle inspired sacred circle class to our monthly membership. And our memberships start as low as $10 a month. So it's a really great way to just get some bonus mindful creative time into your life with our beautiful designs, our guided meditations, and our growing sweet community of people. We have the best conversations on our mindful patterns calls. I love them. So these colors are making me feel happy and so joyful this morning. And it's working better than I thought it would. Everything in my art journal is always an experiment. And I wasn't sure what would happen when I added that, when I wrote right over the top. And I'm coming in and just being very messy with the color because I can have some fun going back and adding more detail with my Derwents as I go along. I apologize for my froggy throat this morning. Get all these little flowers on here. Things are just starting to bloom here. Although we've got some smoky air right now from fires in, I think they're up in Alberta, Canada, and they're blowing all the way down here. So it's a little smoky out there. Oh, awesome, Tori. I love that. Thank you. I love that coloring book too, and that's exactly what I do. That's my evening practice is I will sit and color or stitch. I have one that I printed out on fabric and I'm adding stitching to, having so much fun with that. Our coloring book is awesome. I should say our, but really it's Connor's coloring book. He did all the designs for that. Wanting more of this beautiful blue this morning. And this is just cardstock. This is not fancy paper. It still takes the watercolor pretty well. This is a inexpensive set of watercolors. And again, I'm not being too precise or detailed, and part of that relates to this idea of I am enough. If I'm enough, I don't need to worry about perfection. I don't need to worry about the judgment of others. It also means that I choose myself first, that I choose self-care. We ate a lot of yummy food, much more food than I needed probably this weekend. So there's a feeling that it's not probably, I ate more food than I needed this weekend. And so there's that feeling of time to get back to my normal healthy eating patterns. So one simple little affirmation, I am enough, can start me on this path of just remembering to take care of myself. I could even stop the page here and feel happy and complete with something really simple like this in my art journal. And remembering that, so this took me 10 minutes plus the 5 minutes that I spent journaling before I got on the call. And I'm just letting it dry here for just a second. But just remembering that things don't always have to be so complicated. And even 10 minutes of creative practice, 10 minutes of sitting with an affirmation is enough to shift our mindset, to bring us into a more positive frame of mind, to really just connect with ourselves a little more deeply. And just being in that morning space of creative connection for me is so grounding and really shifts the way I start my day. And I do this with you guys live, and I also get, do it on my own as well. And I've decided that I've actually named my morning practice, and you guys see a variation of that. And we're going to call it our MAP process, our morning art activation routine, because this is how I start my day every single day, and it makes such a huge difference. So let's see what happens if we bring some of these ink tints in there. I may need to go find a pencil sharpener too. We'll see. And see if we just can intensify some of these colors or just add a little bit of detail. The watercolor is still a little bit wet. What I loved about this affirmation was I am enough and I have the power to help those around me. And when I am enough and I turn to help others, I'm coming from a place of abundance, self confidence, and not from a place of people pleasing or over giving, but from a place where I'm consistently putting myself first. Good morning, Julie. Happy Monday, my friend. All right, this has a lot of lines here, and I don't think I want to go over all of those lines. So I cannot wait to get some pictures posted today on my social media of all the amazing work that people did this weekend at my house. We had such an abundance of time to paint, and it was just so great to watch everyone just be in this amazing creative space day after day. I think we wore ourselves out, didn't we, Leslie, with our painting? We just, we were very focused. And it was all about deep reflection and connecting to our own inner wisdom, our own inner knowing, using lots of poetry and time for journaling and oracle cards as a way in to that deeper connection. And affirmations are another way in to that deeper connection to ourself. And again, always remembering I am enough. And I love using affirmations. Good morning, Yvonne. I love using affirmations as journaling prompts. So if you're just joining me, this is one of Connor's Sacred Circle designs from our Mindful Patterns membership, which starts as low as $10 a month, and it's 6 original designs. Actually, there's usually more than that. It's sometimes as many as 10 original designs. But for me, it's not the circles, the sacred circles themselves that matter. It's the beautiful community that we're growing, the connection time that we have, the space and opportunity. So each of these sacred circle designs has its own affirmation that comes with it. And so I love coming together in community to journal and color and be with those affirmations. And what's so interesting about affirmations, you might think, oh, affirmations are hokey. Thank you, Leslie. I love that. Opening up to receive and create. That's it exactly. Exactly. But the thing about affirmations that's really interesting is that you can't just say them, you can't even just write them. You have to really feel them. And this is why I love working with affirmations in an art journal. When we add imagery and visuals to our thoughts, our feelings, or words, or mantras, or affirmations, we then can embody the intention. We can bring the emotion to it. And the way that to get affirmations to work for you is that you really have to feel the energy of the words. Like I remember being in grad school, sitting out by a beautiful lake in Austin, Texas one day, writing lines of affirmations in my art journal and wondering, I don't even remember what the affirmations were, and wondering, why aren't they working for me? And I think there was that self-doubt, right? I didn't believe they would work at that time in my life. I wasn't very connected to my emotions. I didn't know how to do that. And so when we bring feeling, when we can really practice believing that I am enough, then we can start to really feel the energy of the affirmations starting to work. So I'm loving it. So I painted this with just some simple watercolors, and now I'm coming back and adding detail with my beloved Derwent Inktense pencils. These are one of my favorite tools. Just adding some highlights here. And I'm doing a lot of color on color. There's something sort of soothing with the watercolor of doing color on color. I'm not thinking too much about this. It's interesting there's no green on here because I've been so loving the green everywhere. It's so lush and beautiful. The lilacs have been blooming for the last couple of weeks, but they're almost done. They don't last very long. So this is the color of the lilacs, and the dandelions are all out, and the bees are happy. In the sky yesterday, we had a beautiful day yesterday. So we started our retreat, our final day in the park near my house yesterday. And my friend Shannon and I had went for a beautiful walk before the retreat in the morning. And then after everyone was gone, we went out to our little local lake and took our journals and our watercolors and sat by the lake, and it was just beautiful. Had fun watching boats and birds and just sitting quietly in the sunshine. And I also love the second part of this affirmation. So there's the first part, I am enough. And when I'm enough, I choose me first. I choose self-care. I choose my health, right? I choose to stay connected to my own inner knowing. I let go of judgment and perfectionism. I don't feel this incessant need to change who I am. But when I'm enough, I can be authentic. But the second part of this is I have the power to help those around me. And I can't give to others from an empty well. I can't give to others from an empty well. And I think sometimes those of us who are givers and caretakers often find ourselves last on our own to-do list, and I have certainly been there at different stages of my life. And I like to think that I have a healthy balance these days, but not always. As a mom, I'm always attuned to my kids, right, and their needs and what's going on. As a wife and a daughter, right, there's a lot to pay attention to, a lot of people, plus my clients and my communities. And so again, I think it's a fascinating conversation, or to to look at both I am enough and I have the power to help. So I'm curious how these affirmations today are resonating with you. How do you feel enough? When do you not feel enough? Great prompts for your journal. When you hear those just three little words, I am enough, where do you feel them in your body? How do they resonate with you? And when you think about, I have the power to help those around me, does it come from that place of confidence and enoughness? Or is it coming from obligation or people pleasing? Good questions to ponder, but I'd love to hear, how's everyone else this morning? This is going to be a short call. I am a little bit tired this morning after the retreat, and I really wanted to be here with all of you today. Get my week started off with my morning art activation process. And keep it really simple. And yet this page is so lovely. I am so pleased with how this turned out. Again, I started with the affirmation. I did some journaling over the top of the printed design, added some watercolor, and just a little touch of detail with the Derwents to bring some of that design back. And we often see such beautiful, elaborate art journal spreads online. It's just cardstock, Judy. I just printed this on it's Bristol vellum cardstock, so it's a pretty nice cardstock. I don't remember what weight it is. This is what we use to print our designs on for our Mindful Patterns membership that we mail out to everyone. So it's not fancy watercolor paper. My printer won't take watercolor paper. It's not that fancy of a printer. And keeping your practice simple, I think part of why people get stuck in their creative practice, it feels complicated. It feels complicated to pull out all the supplies, especially traditional art journaling. We see beautiful pages with lots of layers and paint. You see me create those pages here, the ones that take an hour or longer. And sometimes what's needed is simplicity, and that thing that we can turn to that only takes 15 to 20 minutes. My problem is once I get started, I find it hard to stop. I don't know that that's a bad thing. Sometimes, it is, but also just remembering, like, I take this practice on the road with me. Simple supplies, simple tools, and I could easily hand draw one of these sacred circle designs. Like, it's fun that I had them here printed to put into my journal. And I have printed out a bunch of just fun affirmations that I found online for the next couple of weeks to continue to play with this idea and see where they take me. And now I'm going to decide if I want to add this to the page, or I still am loving the ideas, but this one's not quite big enough to be a tab. So I think I might also make one that is a tab for the journal. I get to decide where I want to put this. I'm thinking down here in the corner. And yep, I like that. That feels complete and simple. And it also, I have handwritten it at the top as well. So I love the sort of mirroring of my handwriting and then the printed words over the top. I don't need to be able to read the writing. I don't want other people to be able to read the writing sometimes, right? It's not that I'm pretty much an open book and I share a lot, but in our art journals and when we're sharing them on social media, right? Sometimes we want that little bit of feel safe to share. So it's fun to often do the journaling and then bury those words. So this is a little bit of a combination of both. I'm going to put that right there so when the page folds. All right, and then let's see, I've got a little bit of mixed media paper here. And I think, and this one's kind of dirty, so I want to maybe use it up. I don't know what this paper is. It feels really nice. All right, I'm going to make a little tag here. I love this little deckled torn edge. And I don't know what kind of paper this is. It was some extra that was floating around from something, some scrappy bits that I was painting watercolors on. I went feather crazy last week and I had so much fun. I taught a watercolor class and that was mostly abstract, but we painted these feathers and I had more fun and I just couldn't stop painting feathers. All right. There's something about putting tabs in my affirmations journal that I'm really loving because what it means is that once this journal is full, and I'll be able to see the tabs along the edges and flip through to what is it that I need in the moment, right? I'll be able to sort of go back and remember, right? So we did the last one I did was the I am alive last week. And then being able to come over here and see I am enough, which for me is one of those pages that probably, will show up get turned to quite frequently. And I love this is a little shorty page. So this is canvas and this is paper. So I'm going to gesso over these two and see what I might do on those two pages. But I want to get my own handwriting in here and then maybe add some color to this tag as well. And I'm just going to go for it. And I can hear my cats. They're trying to get the little water droplets left in the bottom of the paint jars from this weekend, and I can hear them over there knocking things over on the table. So people that come to retreats in my home have to like cats because I have very friendly cats who like to be, especially Diego, like to be part of everything. All right, and I'm going to add some blue to that to make it match. Doesn't need to be fancy. If you don't like your own handwriting, you can print your tabs, but I think it's so important to get your own handwriting into your journals. And I'm going to just stick this on here with a little glue stick. I might come back and add some paper tape and get that sealed down, but I don't have any sitting right in front of me. I do have some washi tape. Speaking of kitty cats, Georgia is happy to have all the company gone. She spent a lot of time hiding out in the garage. It was a little bit noisy for her. So love that nice big chunky tag there, right? Love seeing this journal start to go. Interesting, like I hadn't really paid attention to the cover this morning, but I'm noticing the color palette that this pink color is kind of showing up a lot. It showed up here, right? It showed up here in the dress, and look at those same colors are showing up here. So it's always kind of fascinating to notice how a color palette sticks with us and to trust the colors that we need, right? And I had an experience this weekend at the retreat of drawing different oracle cards from different decks, but the palettes on them were all the same, and they were these very fall colors. And noticing just some resistance to some of those fall colors, and not 100% why. So lots of reds and golds. And so yesterday I painted with those colors to kind of get just connected to, okay, what is it about these colors right now? All right, missed those little flowers there. I'm going to call this page complete, something simple and quick. And I have a cat turning around in my lap. She's so helpful. Love this, just very simple morning art practice, a little bit of journaling with an affirmation, a little bit of coloring or watercolor, and again, sitting with the embodiment of that affirmation that I am enough and I have the power to help those around me. But I can't do this unless I believe this. So sitting with the confidence of that, sitting with the confidence of that. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. This is Dr. Minette Riordan. This is Painting in Your PJs live with Minette. This month we are painting our way through positive affirmations for personal growth and self-discovery. And I'm going to go get my house and my studio all put back together, probably go for a nice, lovely walk and figure out what's next and maybe sit on the couch and do some nothing today. But thank you so much for joining me. Delighted to be here. I'm Dr. Minette Riordan. This is Painting in Your PJs live with Minette. Do me a favor and click that like button if you enjoyed this process. And have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you all back here live tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Have a beautiful day.